When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
George Clooney and Brad Pitt's new movie, Wolves, is on Apple TV Plus September 27th.
That's where I want you to be now.
So if you want to see George Clooney and Brad Pitt, go to Apple TV Plus.
You got to start the story there.
Or if you want to see Brad Pitt and George Clooney, go to Apple TV Plus.
I am enjoying the show.
And if you want to see their new movie, Wolves,
You can't do it, I'm going to help you out. I can do it, so do it.
definitely go to Apple TV Plus.
Admit it, it's cool. Okay, fine, it was very cool.
Wolves, streaming September 27th on Apple TV Plus. Rated R.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Tuesday, where we are preparing for tomorrow night's EFL Cup game against West Ham, and we can talk about all of that tomorrow. Today, thought we'd have a look at the league and how things stand. We're 5 games in. We are second in the table, 1 point behind Manchester City. We have the joint third most goals scored, and we have the best defence in the league. This is basically, we're approaching 1/6 of the season pretty much done. So we're in a good position. We've had a really good start. The Forest game is obviously very disappointing. We should have won that game on the basis of us being a significantly better team than Forest. But if anybody had said to us before the season that you'll have 12 points after the first 5 games, I think we'd have been pretty enthused by that, given it's a new manager, given it's a very different style of play, given the failures to address left-back and holding midfield in the summer. I think we should all be fairly enthused by how this has gone so far. And if we look ahead at our next 5 games, can we take another 12 points? Up next in the league, we go to Wolves. Now, they've had a dreadful start. As everybody knows, they are bottom of the league. 1 point, 5 goals scored, conceded 14. They're in a dead heat with Everton right now. The only reason they're below Everton, I assume, is alphabetical. That's a game we should be going and winning. Then we've got a Champions League test at home to Bologna. Then we're back in Premier League action. Another away trip. And it's at 12:30 after 12:30 after a European game. 12:30 away at Crystal Palace. This is TNT Sports, of course, being a bunch of dickheads. But again, that's a game we should be going and winning. Palace have not started the season well. They're yet to win a game. Funnily enough, there's 6 teams in the league that haven't won a game. I would have believed that after 5 games, Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, Everton and Wolves would have failed to win. I wouldn't have thought that of Palace, given how they finished last season. With the form they're in, and the form we're in, I think we should be going there and winning that game. That'll be 6 points. Then we play Chelsea home. I think that's a win. They're a very mixed bag. They've obviously got a lot of talent. They're in a similar position with us, with the new manager. But they don't have the strength we have. They don't have the quality we have. They do have significant threats in attack. But we have a better team than they do, and we should win that game. Then we would go to Leipzig, and then we're away to Arsenal on the 27th of October. That's a tough game. We know what to expect from them. They're going to start with 6 centre-backs, and if things go against them and they end up with 10 men, they're going to put on another centre-back because Mikel Arteta is a footballing coward. But it is going to be a tough game. We know what their threat is. Their threat is set pieces. They're not a great chance creation team in open play at 0-0. They're going to heavily rely on set pieces to open things up. We saw it the weekend against City. The first goal comes from a set piece. It's a free kick, lumped over the top for Martinelli. He cuts it back to Calafiori, who shoots and scores. The second goal is obviously directly from a corner with Gabriel getting on the end of Saka's header. But this is their blueprint. Arsenal's blueprint is to get ahead primarily through set pieces and then bed in and try and kill you on the counter-attack. That has been their game plan for 14 months now. Since the end of 22-23. This has been the way they play. Let's say we lose that one. Let's just say we lose that one. Then we play Brighton at home. They're a good team, but we should be beating them. So we would come out of the next 5 league games with 24 points from a possible 30. 8 wins, 2 defeats. That's a pretty good place to be. Now, yes, it would have been disappointing to lose away to Arsenal, without question. But ultimately, the more important game for us is when we play them at home. And as Simon Brundish says, it doesn't really matter how you perform against the other top clubs who are going for the title, your Cities and your Arsenals. What really matters is that you beat the rest. If you beat the dross, you win the league. That's where the points are to be taken. Look at Arsenal last season. They took 4 points from City. They took 4 points against us. They didn't win the league because they didn't beat enough of the dross. Now, the 5 after that, Villa home, that's a tough one, no question. But it's still a game we should win. Southampton away is absolutely a game we should win. Then we play Madrid. Then we play City, who won't have Rodri. That's a game we can win at home. That's absolutely a game we can win at home. Then we go Newcastle away and Everton away, back-to-back games. A midweek game and a weekend game. If you offered me now, I'd take draws in both. I would. I'd take draws in both. I think by December, Everton are going to be not necessarily clear of the relegation zone, but out of the relegation zone and churning their way up the table, playing some of the most horrific football you'll ever see. They're the worst footballing team in the league by a country mile. They're not very good, but they do have quite a few good players, and by then they will also have Branthwaite back. Their ownership situation will have been rectified. We know now there's a deal agreed for the Friedkin Group to come in and buy them. Everton fans are very excited by this. They don't spend a lot of money. Go and look at their tenure with Roma. They don't spend a lot of money. They are quite rash when it comes to managerial changes. They haven't really done all that well with Roma. They did win the Europa Conference League. Congrats to them for that. but they also paid Jose Mourinho 11 million a year for the right to win the Europa Conference League. So if that's return on your investment, maybe you're happy with it. I would take 2 draws there. Now that would be us going 5 unbeaten, which we're more than capable of doing, and that would be 11 points. That would be 11 points. And then if we look at the next 4, that gets us to the halfway point of the season. Fulham home, that's a win. Tottenham away, I think that's a win. Leicester home is a win. And and West Ham away. I think they're all winnable games. So that's another 12 points. So you're looking at 12 from the next 5, 11 from the 5 after, 12 from the next 4. So that's 33 points. Will put us on 45 points through 19 games, which is a 90-point pace. And I think that has to be the aim. I think 90 has to be... If you want to win this league, you've got to get to 90. It might not even be enough, but you've got to get there. And I don't think I'm being outrageous with any of those suggestions. Like, I have us losing to Arsenal. I have us drawing with Newcastle and Everton and winning the rest. Now, Tottenham away will be tough because they're a good team. City home will obviously be tough because they're City and they're a really good team, but they will not have Rodri. And then Villa home. I think we should beat Villa at home. I do. I think we should beat Aston Villa at home. Other than that, and I've given us draws away to Newcastle and Everton, which may be underselling us. May well be underselling us. But I didn't want to just say, oh, we're going to win this game, this game, this game, and this game. I think you have to be realistic. It might not be those games that we drop points in. Like, we might beat Newcastle away, but we might draw at home with Brighton. We might beat Everton away, but we might draw at home or draw away to Spurs. You know, I think there'll be 2 draws and a defeat in that run. But 45 points after 19 games would be a really, really good return from us. And then we hit January when we can address things and look to strengthen. And our January is not bad in league terms. United home, Forest, Brentford away, Ipswich home. Then we go to Bournemouth to start February. Our February's tough enough because we've got City away and Newcastle home, but and Bournemouth away. But we've also got Wolves home. Our March, Southampton, Villa away, Everton home, Fulham away. Oh, sorry. We've only got 2 league games in March. Southampton home and Villa away. April gives us Everton home, Fulham away, West Ham home, Leicester away, Tottenham home. But our March is tough. Our March is tough. We play Chelsea away, then we play Arsenal home, then we go away to Brighton, and then we play Crystal Palace at home on the final day. That's a tough run. When you factor in Tottenham at home, that's a really tough last 5 games. But if we're in the mix, you wouldn't put it past us to win all 5 if we've addressed the issues we have over the course of the season. Not just in January, not just with transfers, with coaching, with familiarity to the system, with improvement of certain players.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
If we can get to that last 5 games in the mix, then that's going to be a successful league campaign for Arne Slot. If he's still in the mix going into the end of April, that's a successful season for him league-wise. And then we look at the Champions League, which is obviously our other main focus. We've gotten a great start with 3 points away to Milan. We should be beating Bologna at home. I don't think there's any doubt about that. If we take a look at the Serie A table, Bologna have not made a good start. 1 win, 3 draws, and 1 defeat. 6 points. They currently sit 13th in the Serie A table. Now, obviously, the table means nothing at this point, especially when you look at and you see Torino are top and Udinese are third, and Empoli are fifth. None of which will be in the top 6 come the end of the season. Then we go to Leipzig in October. And that'll be tough. They're a decent team. They've made a solid enough start to the season. 2 wins, 2 draws. They currently sit in 5th place. But we should still be winning there. Then we play Leverkusen home. They don't carry the same threat they did last year because they're more of a known quantity. But they've still had a really good start. 3 wins and 1 defeat. I think we can beat them at home. Madrid is the tough one. Madrid is the tough one. But it's not like they've looked incredible thus far. They have looked quite clunky. They have 4 wins and 2 draws through their 6 league games. They're 4 points behind Barcelona, but Barcelona just lost their goalkeeper for the full season. Real are going to run away with the league this year. And they may well win the Champions League as well because they won it last year and they added Mbappe. So, But it does look clunky at the moment. Now, by late November, potentially that's not the case. Potentially it's free-flowing and smooth. Then we played Girona away. And they've won 2, drawn 1, and lost 3 of their first 6. They're 12th in La Liga. We should be going to Girona and winning. Now, if we beat Bologna, Leipzig, Leverkusen, and Girona, and let's say lose at home to Real, that's 5 wins. That's 15 points. That will guarantee us a spot in at least the knockout phase, at least the playoff phase for the knockouts. But with 2 games left, we'd be in a tremendous position to go and secure automatic passage to the last 16. And we have favourable games left. Lille home, PSV away. I think 6 wins and 2 draws would do us. So even if 6 wins and 2 defeats would do us, I should say. 18 points. I think that's enough. Even if we lost to Leverkusen and Real. And I don't think we'll lose to both. I think we can beat Leverkusen. And let's say we lose to Real. That could be 7 wins then. And 1 defeat. And that would be 21 points. And that would be a real marker as well. That would be a real marker, a statement of intent to our Premier League rivals. Because when the draw was made, everybody was like, oh wow, Liverpool got a really tough draw. Much tougher than City, much tougher than Arsenal, much tougher than Villa. Did Villa get to pick their own draw? Because it's a little bit easy. I think if we could win 7 and draw 1 and lose one rather, even if we drew one, but if we lose one, it would just send out a message that this team is for real. And I think it would cause a little bit of a rethink around what this team can be this season. Now, to do this, to get to 19 league games with 45 points, to get to the end of the Champions League group, which is the 29th of January, with, let's say we take 19 points. Let's say we win 6, draw 1 and lose 1, right? Let's say we take 19 points and we breeze through in the top 8. I think at that point you'd have to be incredibly enthused by what Arne Slot has put together. And when you look at the January fixtures, like, again, I think we should win all 4 of them. I think that should be another 12 points. That'd be 57 from 23 games. We could get to the end of January and look incredibly strong, especially if we add in the window, especially if certain players continue to develop, certain players continue to get better. Arne figures out a couple of ways to make us a bit more secure in midfield, because we're a little bit easy to play through at the moment. Like, I'm really enthused by how the season has started and where it can go from here, and how we can make challenges. Because I look around the league, and I mean, City are the obvious threat, but they've lost Rodri for the entire season. And I know they've got a bunch of other good midfielders. Like, it's not like a thing that they're going to have to roll out their equivalent of Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. They've got tremendous midfielders at their club. Kovacic is outstanding. I know he hasn't done great since going there, but Matthias Nunes is really, really good. Ilkay Gundogan is a little bit older now, but he's still a very good player. Bernardo Silva is one of the best players in the league. They could use John Stones in midfield because he's not getting his game at centre-back. I think Gvardiol could fill in midfield if they need them to. Rico Lewis can play in midfield. Like, they've got a really good crop there. And it may well be that they can turn around in January and bring back someone like Perone, who they've got loaned out at Como right now. It may well be that they have the option to recall him. They might have an option to recall Calvin Phillips. Not sure Pep would want to because he doesn't seem to like him, but like, they're still going to be really, really good. Young Nico O'Reilly looks a good player as well. So they're still going to be really good, but they don't seem as unbeatable if Rodri's not there. Now, he's barely played this season and they've won 4 and drawn 1, but, you know, we saw what happened last year when he wasn't there. They don't seem as unbeatable. And I don't know about you, but I don't watch Arsenal with any fear. Arsenal, to me, I think they might end up drawing a lot of games this season. They might not lose many, but I could see them drawing a lot of games this season. And I think that could kill their title hopes. Something that's happened to us in multiple seasons under Jurgen. Too many draws. But you watch them and there's no... Like, it's very risk-averse football. There's no real commitment to winning the game. There's a commitment to not losing the games. And that's 4 centre-backs and 2 holding midfielders. That's a commitment to not losing. And people can try and blow them up as this great defence all they want. If they get to the levels that we got to in 1890, when we conceded 22 goals, I'd be shocked if they only conceded 22 all season. Especially because the league is just more... I think there's just more goal scoring that happens in general now. We saw that last year. But even if they did, say, match our 22, think of how they'd have done it. 4 centre-backs, 2 holding midfielders. Think of how we did it. 2 centre-backs, 2 glorified wingers at full-back, and 2 sitters in midfield, Fabinho and Jenny. And everybody else committed to attack. 4 defenders, 6 going forward. With them, it's 6 defenders and 4 going forward. Now, Rice will join the attack at times. But they're a defensive team. He's the modern-day George Graham, David Moyes. That's what he's leaned into. He's leaned into the George Graham era. He's leaned into the teachings of David Moyes. Watch them. Watch them press in their own final third. There's no attempt to win the ball. All it is an attempt to push you back 5 yards and step out and reset, and then push you another 5 yards and step out and reset, and push you another 5 yards and step out and reset. That's David Moyes. David Moyes has been doing that in the Premier League for nigh on 20 years. Arsenal are very good at it. But they don't really want to win the ball because they don't want to commit and they don't want to leave themselves open. Whereas with us, we'd have been trying, especially under Klopp, we would have been aggressively hunting that ball to try and win it back and launch an attack. They're not doing that. And there's people on social media fawning over themselves over a clip where there's a half-hearted high press, and when it becomes clear that they're not going to get the ball because they don't really have any intention of trying to get the ball, they all immediately turn and sprint back. And people are fawning over this. It's genuinely an amazing thing. The tacticals on social media and the wannabe tacticals who pretend to have a clue on what they're talking about but really just want to fit in with the weird kids, they fawn over Arteta like he's some sort of genius. I saw one idiot say he was Guardiola in possession, Klopp in the high press, and Mourinho's defensive block. Well, first of all, Mourinho didn't pack his defence to that extent. Not even Mourinho did that. Secondly, his high press is nothing like Klopp's. His high press is actually Pep's high press. And thirdly, his possession play is rudimentary. Like, it's so basic. They've got 3 or 4 patterns of play that they continually go to. And when they don't work, it's a clogged toilet. It's what it looks like. That's why they're so heavily reliant on set pieces. They don't worry me all that much. They might well win the league. But they don't worry me a massive amount. I don't think Villa will sustain. Like, they've had a great start. They should have won all 5. They should have beaten Arsenal. Ollie Watkins missed 2 sitters, but they don't worry me as a team that could win the league. And I don't think there's anybody else that's really going to be in that mix. So I feel like there is a chance for us if we go in January and we're aggressive and ambitious and we get the 2 players we should have gotten in the summer. Because I think by the time we get to January, we're going to be in a good position. Like I said, 45 points and sailing through the Champions League. Now, I don't think we'll win the Champions League this year, but I think we can win the league if we buy the right players in January. I think that's what Rodri's injury has opened up. Before his injury, if he was fit, I wouldn't have thought we could win the league. With his injury, I think there's a chance. If we go in January and we address the needs of the team. On AnfieldIndex.com, there is a piece about the contract situations, another piece about Trent, an update on Alisson's injury. Barcelona have been loosely linked with Alisson, so there is a piece on that as well. And there is a piece on Joe Gomez. Podcast-wise, there is 2 episodes of the David Lynch podcast, so give those a listen. There is Arne Slot's press conference, and there is the post-press conference pod with Dave Davis. We will have a scouted out later today. We are recording it in 9 minutes, and I believe there's something else coming today. I think there's a big decisions pod coming, and there's an Under Pressure recorded tonight as well. And then across the week we've got loads of content, and we'll be back then on Raw on Saturday. Right, that's me for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.